And it's hard to find a game that plays 6 players as well as this one does that isn't a party game. Peaks is a competitive engine building game about hiking and mountaineering for 1 to 6 players. The goal of the game is to be the player with the most flags out on the map at the end of the game. And the end of the game is triggered once a player places their 16th beautifully crafted flag mini out on the board. And then final scores are tallied and the player with the most flags is the winner. We'd like to pause for just a moment and thank our friends at Tangerine Games for sending this prototype of Peaks for us to preview and or maybe kind of review it a little bit. And Harley Quinn here would like you to click that subscribe button. Right, Harley? Gameplay is quite simple. A player on their turn will take one of their large action cubes and place it on one of the 3 actions. Those 3 actions are rest, prepare, and climb. My personal favorite, and the whole reason that we're here. Players will be doing these 3 actions largely to gain these mountain cards and to gain the materials and or energy to be able to climb them, to get points and to get other goodies to make future climbs possible and to put more flags out on the board. So how do these actions work? Glad you asked. The rest action allows you to travel to any continent and gain energy equal to this number here, or move your energy all the way up to your stamina. Another action you can take is the prepare action, and this is how you'll get more cards. Take one of these beautifully illustrated cards, and then you discard the card on the leftmost, they slide and get replenished. And add it to your tableau of mountains that you're possibly going to be climbing. And I love how you get rid of that leftmost card because it kind of helps you cycle through the mountains a lot faster, but can also be a little brutal in a 6-player game when that mountain that you want is out there and it kind of gets discarded. The prepare action also allows you to gain gear. So here I could gain 2 gear, maybe I'll gain some spiked boots and maybe a carbinger, whatever they're called. A little hooky thing. Now the gear is important because some of these mountains require gear for you to climb them. Climbing. This is where you choose one of your mountains that you have and you go climbing. Other players around the table can join you on this climb. Now you can't deny and tell the other players to stay home or stay at the bottom of the mountain. They do get to come with you. Now there is a good thing to that because some of the mountains, like this mountain here, while it requires 5 energy for you to climb it alone, if you have someone else, 1 or more players join you, it requires 3 energy. So you do save some energy climbing when you go as a group, but you are helping out some of the other players at the table. The active player will choose either the X or the Y benefit, and they will gain that benefit, and then any other players that join them in their climb will gain the other benefit that they did not choose. So I would just pay my energy cost. Now this mountain here has a lot more requirements. This one would take 5 energy or 3 energy if other players join me, and it also requires that we have 3 experience. And experience is tracked on this experience track at the top of the board. Here you have to have a combined experience of 3. So that's pretty cool too, because when other players join you, you add up everyone's experience and hopefully it's more than enough to meet that experience requirement. Because if you don't meet that experience requirement, you then have to roll the danger die. Danger! And for every experience point that you're short, there is a chance that you could roll a hazard. And what this does is, if you notice, some of the rewards on the cards will have this little hazard sign next to them. And should you roll a hazard, then you don't get the benefits that have the hazard sign on them. You'll still get something, but it won't be quite as awesome as it could have been. But in addition to those elements, players also have to have a harness, some spiked boots, and they have to be acclimated to the continent as well. So that means that I couldn't just go there this turn. I would have to have previously been in South America at the beginning of my turn in order to do this climb. And in addition to any benefits on the mountain card, players will also gain experience. The active player will gain the top number and the other players that tagged along will gain the bottom number. And like everything else, this die can be upgraded. So later on, it might be 2 points and 2 points, or if I upgrade it even more, now I get 2 points and the other players only get 1, and the final step here, 3 and 2. And you get to place a flag. Now the experience is important because once you pass these certain milestones, for instance, this milestone here, this is how you upgrade one of your tile actions. So now when you cross these spaces, you can make your 3 normal actions even more powerful. And that's one of the great things about this game, is there's so many things that can be upgraded. Now, once you have filled in 3 of these action cubes on here, you have the option during your turn, even before taking the action, you can choose to remove all of the action cubes and you can get a bonus. For instance, I may choose to take that bonus and clear out all these action cubes right now from my player board, which is a nice dual layered player board, so it keeps all of your stuff nice and tidy. I would then get this bonus here, and this top one is I can place a flag on my current country that I'm in, or I could gain 3 experience. These are really great ways to beef up your board and to start putting flags out here. The prepare action, if I had all 3 there, I can upgrade one of my dice down there. The rest action bonus, that allows me to move up my stamina here. So now, if I should rest and I can move my energy up to my stamina, it's going to be moving up even higher. Gosh, I just love these player boards. They're so good. So in addition to getting mountains and climbing them and upgrading your board and gaining gear and putting out just these nice looking pieces. Oh, and speaking of nice pieces, all the meeples are different too. And they all have nice little sculpts. In addition to all that goodness, there are bonus cards that you can get. And these bonus cards are interesting too because they have dual uses. You can either turn them in for like a one-time perk, or they also will include in-game bonus points if you meet a certain requirement that's on the card. And in addition to those, to help you out on some of your more challenging climbs, there are companions. And these companions are pretty dope too because you'll get them, they'll slide in underneath your player board, which it is notched out so they can slide in there comfortably. You will put a cube on there, the highest number, because they can only be used set number of times. For instance, this professional guide can only be used 3 times, but they will give you perks and bonuses and little boosts during your climbs to make things a little easier. So they are very valuable to get, and you can have up to 3 of them. And should you get a 4th, you just kick one to the curb, push them down the mountain. Leave them up there. Dude, I don't know thematically what exactly is happening to that body. Peaks. This one is really growing up. So while the game is still in a prototype form and coming to Kickstarter soon, definitely check that out. This game is really enjoyable. And the components on this prototype, which everything's subject to change, are really nice. The dual layer boards work great, keeps those upgrades from moving, and those upgrades are one of the best things about this game. I love the upgrades. It's so cool the way you can build your engine, and you may want to upgrade how many experience points you get for doing climbs, or you may want to get more gear, or maybe even more energy, and then sliding those tiles, upgrading those tiles, making your 3 actions even more powerful. And I really appreciate how well this game plays at large player counts, because the player interaction is awesome, because you really care what the other players are doing on their turn. Because if they're climbing, then you may want to climb with them, or you may want to see what the other players around the table, like if they have climbs that they may do that you might have to be acclimated, so maybe you will go to South America in preparation for maybe joining someone on a climb. And if the players aren't taking the climb actions, the other 2 actions are really fast, so there's not a whole lot of downtime in the game. And it's hard to find a game that plays 6 players as well as this one does that isn't a party game. The game is a fairly easy teach. You only have 3 actions that you can take. Now, I know there are a little, bits and pieces and moving parts within those 3 actions, but you can almost just jump in and start playing this game. In the artwork, there is so much beautiful artwork in this game. I really was anticipating, granted, the box does look beautiful, and that's actually kind of what drew me into this game. I saw it on the internet. I was like, whoa, Tangerine Games, send me a prototype to review. And they were nice enough to. But yeah, the look on this game, the art, just phenomenal. So this game is definitely worth checking out. Keep an eye out for it. Coming to Kickstarter soon. And while this is technically a preview, and I would love to review it right now, but I feel like I can't because, things are still subject to change. But I do anticipate this one getting a pretty high beard stroke of maybe even a 4 out of 5, somewhere up there, because this game is really dope. Definitely check it out. That's Peaks by Tangerine Games.